Next video in the series of the STØD, the Danish STØD. This time about nouns. We're gonna look at one basic rule about nouns. When is there gonna be STØD, when is there not gonna be STØD? And again, we're gonna see that the E rule is super important in Danish. Welcome back to Mixed Languages. I'm Mik. Nouns, substantiver. Let's look at the word that we have already looked at. The word hund, dog, hund. Right, so the rule is, if there is STØD in the basic form, then the form with the definite article is also going to have STØD. Basic form, hund, dog. Hund, the dog, is also going to have STØD. That's the rule, right? Hund, hund. Whereas, if we do not have STØD in the basic form, hund, right? Remember the E rule, no STØD on the plural form here, hund. There's also not going to be STØD in the definite article form of hund, which is hunde, the dogs. Hund, hunde. So, to recap, hund, 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 hunde. Right? I don't say hunden, hund for the plural, hunde. No, I say hun, hunde. Now let us look at the following two different words here, two different nouns. Styr, styr. Styr means handlebar on a bike, and styr means something like, for example, the regime, the Iraqi regime. Styr, styr. So let's look at the different forms here, right? Styr, the rule I just gave you, tells us that the definite article form also has to have STØD. Styr, styr. And now the plural. How is the plural form? It's the same. Styr, right? So two handlebars is to styr. And then the definite article form also will have STØD. Styr, styrne. Right? So let's take all of the four forms. Styr, styret, styr, styrne. Now the other word, styre, is a word ending in E, so we do not have STØD, right? Styre. Then also the definite article form will not have STØD. Styret. And then the plural is actually also without STØD here. Styre with ER. And styrene, also no STØD. Let's take a sentence where we can get some ambiguity to see how it's important for us to pronounce it correctly. Lad os håbe, at styret kan holde til det. Lad os håbe, at styret kan holde til det. Lad os håbe, at styret kan holde til det. Right, let's hope that the handlebar, styret, can kind of take the pressure so it doesn't break. Something like that. Kan holde til det. Lad os håbe, at styret, the regime, kan holde til det. That it can take the pressure, whatever, political pressure, whatever, and it won't collapse. It's important to say also that it doesn't work the other way around. So if there is no STØD in the basic form, singular form, we can still have STØD sometimes in the definite article form, right? So no STØD in the basic form. For example, smør, there's no STØD. Smør. Even though we, in theory, could have STØD, there is STØD basis in this sound. Smør would be possible, but we don't say that. We say smør. Sorry, I should have put it on this side. This is the side for the non-STØD words, right? Smør. But the definite article form, the butter, is STØD, has STØD. Smørl, smør, smørl. The same happens in mad, which could have STØD, mad, but it doesn't. We say mad, but it has STØD in the definite article form. Maden. Don't ask me why that happens. If any specialist in this topic is watching, please write a message in the comments. Why is this happening? I cannot really answer that question. It's kind of weird and just shows how Danish is not always that easy. But again, this is an exception. It's not the thing that happens often. Okay, so that was the video on nouns. That's all I want to say about nouns and STØD. No, stop. After recording the video, I actually figured out I should have talked about one more thing, so let's do it now. Let's remember what we talked about in the video on the STØD in adjectives. When do we pronounce the E in the end of a word, and when do we not? This idea is also relevant for nouns. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about cats and dogs. They are great at demonstrating this idea. En hund, to hunde. Hund has STØD in the singular form. So we can have the dynamic I talked about with the adjectives. Hund, hunden. We can also say hunde in the plural form, of course, but we normally would say hunden. Hund, hunden. On the other hand, cat in the singular form does not have STØD. There is no STØD basis. Not in the vowel, because it's short, a, and also not in the final consonant, which is a D sound. There is no possibility of STØD in that consonant sound. So what does this give us? In the plural, we have to pronounce the E. Katte. I cannot say cat, or something like that. Doesn't work. So let's just hear them again one more time. Hund, hunden, cat, katte. Hope this was good at demonstrating this idea one more time for you. So now I hope everybody understands what I'm talking about. There is more that could be said, but it is kind of difficult to figure out rules and all that stuff. So I've kept it at this basic level. I hope this was helpful. I hope this helped you to understand the Danish pronunciation system better. Give the video a like if it deserves one. Thanks for your attention. Vi ses næste gang.